Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Bolt City Podcast. Dave Pele, Josh Pele, the guy that's a big fan of using the sunroof in the summertime. Mario Heron, looking a little bit
Ooh,
our
good one,
special
Dave.
guest. Joins us right
Yeah,
now. It's Fernando Ramirez
I got
from the
so many
Sporting
laughs.
Tribune. Fernando, got to ask you right off the bat. I know everything I say seems to be kind of a negative, but is Austin Eckler done complaining about running backs and getting paid? Or are we just going to focus on football?
It seems like it is. And Mario, look, there we go. This is what it is. You just
Yeah.
need some, put it
Yeah.
on, and you're good to go. uh, hey, I've been using it. Training camp gets really rough. It's hot. It's bad. So, but yeah, it seems like he's kind of turned the page on it. Obviously, it just seems like more and more running back stuff is coming out now. You have Jonathan Taylor with the Colts. You have other stuff. Saquon got paid, so you got some of that other stuff. But Austin basically said it's time now to turn the page, time to focus on the team, and they're ready to go. So it's going to be interesting to see the way kind of Kellen Moore is going to use them in this offense. But he says that he feels like they're going to use them in different ways. He also said that he hopes that he is with the Chargers for years to come. That he hopes it's not just this season, and then they let him walk in free agency. That he hopes he can be back with the team because he loves the group. He believes in what the Chargers are doing. He believes in what Brandon Staley's doing, and that he hopes that he can play here for years to come. But that'll kind of depend on the way he plays, and if anybody else, if Isaiah Spiller, if Joshua Kelly, if any of those guys can kind of get up to speed, then maybe they say, you know what, they do what Matt Miller said: you draft a running back, or you get a running back. Once his contract's over, you go to draft another running back, like that whole cycle. So, but as of right now, the Charger they paid Justin Herbert. Everything's good to go. Now it's just focusing on camp and then focusing on the season and staying healthy, obviously.
Speaking of staying healthy, J.C. Jackson last season was hurt. He wasn't himself when he did play. Have you heard anything or seen anything from J.C. Jackson that would make us happy? And also Quentin Johnson. Is it realistic to say that he's going to be the number 3 wide receiver this season?
I mean, if we're going, Quentin Johnson looks fast. Like he looks really good. In the longest yard, when they asked the inmate guy about Nelly, he's like, "Is he fast?" Like, he's fast. He makes fast people not look fast. Like that's exactly what Quentin Johnson is. He's burning right by corners. It's funny. I think it was Asante Samuel Jr. tried, and no pads on, try to jam him at the line, and he was able to evade him, move to the side, and kind of take off. And you're like, whoa, like that's his release. So his release is pretty good. I think teams are going to be distracted by Keenan Allen, by Mike Williams, by Austin Eckler, that he could come open and he could do some damage. But Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen, and Brandon Staley said, don't forget about Josh Palmer. Josh Palmer is going to be a big part of our offense this year. So I wouldn't forget about Josh Palmer, but there should be a big sense of excitement from Charger fans because of Quentin Johnston, and rightfully so. I mean, the kid has really shown out the first 3 practices, but obviously they don't have pads on, and it'll be interesting to see kind of what he does when they get the pads on, and then if he plays preseason games, because typically the Chargers let their rookies go one drive, take them out, and that's it. Well, their number 1 pick. But back to what J.C. Jackson. Brandon Staley said that they're going to take it slowly with him. They want him to kind of rev up and kind of take positive strides, and that's what he's done. He's been in a couple 7-on-7s. He's been in a couple 11-on-11s. He had a really good pass deflection on Keenan Allen the other day. Obviously, again, no pads, but they want to take it slow with him. And he told us back in early June when we spoke to him, he said, I'm a student of the game again. Like I've taken this time to really go through the playbook, understand it. I've picked the brains of Derwin James, of other guys that really understand it, to get a sense of what my responsibility is. And obviously, Brandon said that they're going to do as much as they can. But if J.C. Jackson's back and they have Ja'Zir Taylor, Michael Davis, Asante Samuel Jr., and him, then they have a pretty good secondary, which is obviously what you want. But it heavily counts on him being healthy, 1, and 2, understanding the playbook, understanding his responsibility, and being able to not be a liability like he was last year. The only game that I thought he was actually not that bad in was the Chiefs game. And that one, he gave up a 40-yard touchdown, but he didn't have safety help over the top by Nasir Adderley. But still, he can't be a liability out there because obviously the secondary is going to need him to play, especially right off the bat. You play Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and Chosen Anderson. I love that. Chosen Anderson. So they're going to have to be on their game right off the bat.
Yeah, and practices with no pads on leads to running backs always thinking they scored. I remember a football coach told me that, and that's the most classic line of all time. We have Fernando Ramirez from the Sporting Tribune on with us in Bolt City. I wanted to ask, this was something I've been seeing on social media, been even reading about as well, is that Mike Williams is lining up in the slot a little bit in Moore's offense. What does that kind of look like in camp so far? The benefits of that with Williams lining up more in the slot, and just overall, how's Moore's offense been looking so far to start camp?
They're going down the field a lot. You've seen it. It hasn't just been Mike. Like, I know Mike, and by the way, they need to change his name. He's not 80-20 anymore. I think he's more 90-10 when they throw down the field to him, because he always makes big grabs. But Keenan's been going down the field. Quentin Johnson, Josh Palmer, what's his name? I got the list right here. John Hightower. John Hightower's been another guy who's been going down the field. And you could tell they're going to be vertical. They're going to be going down the field. They're going to be doing a lot more with their offense, just that they haven't shown much. All you see is that Justin throws a beautiful ball and they're getting open. But Mike Williams in the slot, Kellen Moore spoke about it. Keenan spoke about it. They said it's just going to and Brandon Staley, they just said it's going to help do a lot more things. Brandon Staley put the equivalent of basically LeBron James going up against a point guard when they've done that at times. Defensively, it's going to be rough for the point guard to be able to guard somebody that big. So at times, I mean, he's been guarded by Asante Samuel Jr. and I mean, no knock on Asante, but that's just tough. Mike is 6'4", 6'5" almost. He has a big frame. It's hard to go down the field with him. So he is really Mike has shown a lot of improvement. I thought the last 3 seasons, and this year I think his role is going to increase even more. Just because I feel like the different ways that Kellen Moore is using him is just going to help this offense take that next step. So, yeah, they're using him in the slot. They're using him in different varieties. They're really trying to mix and match these guys around, and they're showing each guy how to play 2 or 3 different positions so that they understand just in case if something happens. But yeah, Mike has literally caught almost everything coming his way. So he's had so far a strong beginning to camp.
Fernando, I'll give you $100 if you ask this week the question: how difficult is it for the skill players to learn how to go vertical instead of horizontal?
Hey, I'll do it. I mean, I don't mind. Who do you want me to ask?
Dude, you could ask any skill player on the offense. Just a complete shot at Lombardi for what he put us through a year ago. Insane. All right.
No, it's night and day. But that's why I'm wondering, like, everybody's like, oh, the Broncos are going to turn it around. And I'm like, but they have Joe Lombardi at offensive core. Like, how are they expected to turn this around? Like, I mean, obviously they're going to be better and everything. Anything's better than what they had. But, I mean, I saw exactly what Joe Lombardi's offense was. And maybe that fits Russ. Maybe that does, because his arm strength might not all be there anymore. Maybe that kind of offense fits him. I mean, that's what I was telling somebody the other day. I'm like, it felt like he was coaching. He was the offensive coordinator for a 40-year-old quarterback who had no more arm strength, like Drew Brees. And it's like, dude, you have a 24-year-old Justin Herbert who has a howitzer for an arm, and you're just not taking advantage of it. But also, I guess it's because they thought that the only one that could go down the field was Mike Williams, except for Jalen Guyton, who had gotten hurt. But it's like now you're seeing Keenan Allen go down the field. Keenan last year, towards the end of the season, he was going down the field a lot. That game against the Raiders, that 4th down catch, the game against the Chiefs, he caught that one on 3rd down when he was down the field. So Keenan can go down the field, but it's just for some reason everybody's wanted to use him as at what he's good at, which is getting off the ball, the slants. Because Keenan can run the whole route tree, but I don't know for what reason they haven't used him like that. And it feels like this year they're finally going to use Keenan Allen in a different way. But that's one of my biggest takeaways, by the way. Keenan Allen he's so far lights out. Like, the dude's been catching everything thrown his way. So I think Keenan Allen might be in for a huge year this year, especially with the way that Kellen Moore is gonna is so far the way he's kind of used him. I feel like Keenan's in for a big year.
Fernando, is there any indication that Dayan Henley or Tooley or is going to make a big impact? Any rookies? I know obviously we have a new punt returner and kick returner, but the punt and kick return isn't what it used to be. You know, they kind of phased it out of the game. Do you think either one of those two guys is going to have a big impact?
Deion Henley's knocked down like 3 or 4 passes so far in practice. And they've all been like close to interceptions. You could tell he kind of knows what is happening on the field. You can tell he's a student of the game. So he's been pretty impressive. Thule is just, I think he's going to be more when the pads come on. You're going to see more from him. But Joey Bosa was speaking about him the other day, and he's like, he calls me sir. Like, I don't like that. Like, I'm not that much older than you, but in reality, Bosa is like 8 or 9 years older than him. But he's like, Joey joked, and obviously people don't understand jokes on Twitter or X or whatever the hell you want to call it. But I put the Joey Bosa's quote. He's like, he probably knows the playbook more than I do, and that's the thing. Thule's been has been a student of the game. Guys have said that he's picked Khalil Mack's brain, he's picked Bosa's brain, and Bosa said, I really like our outside line or our edge rushing group. And he's like, I think Thule's in for a big year. So usually I kind of listen more to the players when it comes to that kind of stuff, because they know exactly the guys that and Bosa's always been the guy. Like, Bosa from the beginning said, hey, watch out for Justin Herbert. Like, this guy is going to be like incredible. He's going to be lights out. I remember people were like, well, Tyrod Taylor's your quarterback. Well, yeah, but Justin Herbert's lights out. And it's like, some people kind of didn't remember that, and I remember that, and I'm like, oh, wow, okay, so Joey, that's why against Kansas City that week, too, I'm like, oh, wait, Joey told us that this guy was going to be impressive. So, but yeah, those two guys, I think, should have an impact. I don't think you want, Max Dugan to have any impact this year, obviously, so.
I hope not.
No, but, you know, McFadden, I think McFadden, I mean, obviously, no injuries or anything to the offensive line, but I think McFadden could potentially be Jamari Sawyer. He's I mean, and again, no pads, no nothing, but he's looked pretty solid, and they said he's kind of picked it up as well. But Darius Davis, for some reason, I kind of have a feeling that they might try and use him as a gadget player on offense as well, not just as a returner. So that might be something to monitor, and maybe he could be one of those guys that just takes an end around and just adds a new element to your offense. The way the Chargers have they've been missing it. I know they wanted Joe Reed to do that a couple of years ago, but he just couldn't stay healthy. He did. I remember against the Jets, he took an end around and he scored a touchdown. Then after that, you really didn't hear about him. So I think they're hoping that Darius Davis turns into that ultimate Swiss Army knife for their offense.
I'm happy you said something about, like, there's a huge difference between a player saying something and a coach saying something, because we're in the gas up season right now.
Yeah.
You know, where every press conference is like,
every single Chiefs receiver looks really good in practice right now.
Yeah.
That's my biggest takeaway.
Yeah. There's always one rookie that they're like, he's a second coming of Christ. You know, he's like the Michael Jordan of football. And you're like, dude, congratulations. I'm going to call him Jesus and wash his feet already. So obviously, a big sign we had this offseason was Eric Kendricks coming from Minnesota Vikings. He, big leader, veteran. Have you kind of noticed his leadership at all on the field in that defense? As he's still kind of getting his feet wet? And have you noticed that with that linebacker group? I think it was Murray had a good quote about him the other day of how nice it is to have Kendricks in the locker room and in that linebacker group. So a little bit about his kind of effect on the field. Yeah,
Bosa said that it's like having another quarterback on the field, because you already have Derwin and you have him. I think Kendricks is the one wearing the green dot. So he's the one calling out everything. He's the guy that's going to be the eyes and ears of Brandon Staley. So that's going to be really interesting to see kind of how it goes. The dynamic so far, like I said, and I don't mean to sound like a coach, because I think when the pads come on, I think it's going to be different, but you can tell the players are really, they've taken to Eric Kendricks. They like him. I mean, Keenan and him were joking. So Keenan had just ended his press conference, and he's like, I know you guys want to talk to somebody with real hair or whatever. And Eric Kendricks comes up and they're joking around. So Eric said he's really taken to the team. He likes these guys. It was funny. He actually said, he's like, I think his quote was, I want Justin to be a little bit more arrogant this year. Like, now that he got his money and everything, but more arrogant when he scores touchdowns or this and that. And I'm like, oh wow, he wants a heel turn from Justin. But definitely, I think they feel his presence on defense. I think they like the addition, and obviously it's going to help a guy like Kenneth Murray, who I think is still trying to find his way. not only in the defense, but in the NFL as well, because there are times that obviously he's had some good moments, some flashes, and there's been times where he's made mistakes. So I think adding Kendricks has been a good adding him has been good for Kenneth Murray. We'll see how it is obviously when they play, but and they both love cars, so that's kind of what they've bonded over. So it's gonna be good to see kind of Kenneth Murray and Eric Kendricks moving forward. But Eric Kendricks should really help against the run, especially because that's kind of where the Chargers have been lacking a defensive presence. So if he can be that guy that helps stop the run and then can still do kind of what Drew Tranquil did, which was being able to blitz and kind of cause disruption for the opposing quarterback, then the Chargers should be in a good place. But yeah, no, you can tell the players really like Eric and they like the addition that he's been. And like we said, we all know Derwin is the leader of this defense, but having a voice like Eric in there is just going to help it out even more. Chargers have now leadership on every single position on the defensive side of the football.
One of my biggest concerns going into the season was Khalil Mack and his age. Like obviously, Father Time's undefeated. So when you see Khalil Mack right now, how does he look? Has age started to catch up with him, even just in shorts and t-shirts?
I don't think so. I mean, the thing is too, like, I think Monday should be pretty interesting. I mean, when they put the pads on and he has to go up against Rashawn Slater and guys like that, I think that should be more telling. But I think last year what really kind of slowed him down a little bit was the fact that he didn't have Joey on the other side. If Joey can be healthy the whole year and Khalil can be healthy the whole year, I think that'll help Khalil get I think that'll help Khalil kind of keep it going a little bit, because I still think that he was he surprised me the way he played last year, and I feel like he could get even better this year. It's just gonna be, can they limit the unnecessary stops? Like what am I trying to say? My bad. So the unnecessary things where he has to be on I think they need to save him more for those passing downs, for other things like that, and not just and not use them. Like, you want to have a quality backup behind him, because you don't want him taking all the snaps, and you kind of want to limit everything that he does, because he is up there in age. He's been in the NFL for obviously 10 years now, so obviously you kind of want to limit how much you play him. But he's going to help obviously against the run. He's going to help in the passing game, but I just think that he should be on a limited snap count, and especially because you have Thule, you have other guys. But I think really what it's going to come down to is Chris Rumph. You're kind of at that point now where, who are you? Like, what are you as a player? Are you going to be a guy that's going to disrupt? Are you like a Leonard Floyd that you're long, you're aggressive, you're going to be able to get in there? Or are you just a good special teams player? And I feel like that's kind of one of the things that the Chargers are going to need to look at. And obviously Thule, what do they have in him? Is he really going to be a good pass rusher? But that's my thing with Khalil. You're going to kind of have to limit him a little bit more, just because you want to save him for those big time moments, those big, like last year against the Raiders in week 1, at the end of the game, he caused a disruption on Derek Carr. That's what you're going to need from him. But that's what I mean. Like, you just need to save him and not tire him out, I guess, in a sense.
Going back to what you were saying, it made me laugh because Michael Kendricks, Eric Kendricks' older brother, led the Cal defense, and then Keenan Allen led the Cal offense. Yeah. So I wonder if they have that connection between Eric and Keenan. What do you think Brandon Staley needs to do to keep his job past this season? Last show, we're talking about coaches on the hot seat. All three of us agreed that Brandon Staley is absolutely on the hot seat. What does he need to do to keep his job?
They need to make the divisional game. I mean, they need they need at least a playoff win, I think. I mean, what happened last year, I get it. I understand. Obviously, Jeff Miller wrote a good piece in the LA Times about how he went to go seek the guidance of Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr obviously had lost 3-1 in the finals to the Cavs, and he spent a couple of days during their playoff series, I think against Sacramento, and he kind of picked Steve Kerr's brain a little bit, and then kind of saw what and kind of wanted to get a different perspective. So I mean, that's something that should be interesting to see what he does, but I think he needs to make it to the divisional game at least. I mean, when you need to win a playoff game, it's like stepping stones. Like the first season, you didn't make the playoffs. This year, you made the playoffs, but you lost on the wild card. Now you need to show a little bit more. I mean, it's a stepping stone, and I think anything else, like if you don't make the playoffs, I think it's gonna be rough to kind of tell your franchise like, hey, we didn't make the playoffs, but like we're gonna bring back everybody and we're gonna try and run it one more time. I think that's going to be hard, especially when you kind of are going up in a sense and then to come back down. I mean, it's hard to tell a fan base and obviously, but you're going to need a playoff win. And I really do think that this team has some special pieces to it. I think it's one of the most talented teams in the NFL, but it's like we've always said. I mean, you both have been around for years, and the Chargers are the what if team. Like, what if Marlon McCree doesn't fumble? What if I don't know? What if
Nate Kaeding makes a field goal one time?
Nate Kaeding. There you go, Nate Kaeding. Like, there's always what ifs, and that's what this team has kind of been for years. And it's like, okay, can this year be not the what if? Like, what if they can stay healthy? No, if they stay healthy this year, they should be a pretty good team, and obviously their schedule is pretty grueling. I mean, the back end of it is really going to show you a lot. But the beginning, if you can jump out maybe only losing 1, 2, 3 games in the first like 9, then you're off to a great start. But it's all going to be about discipline, how they perform on the field, and can they stay healthy. If they got these guys and everybody stays healthy, they should be able to be a solid team in the NFL just because of all the talent that they have. And I mean, at one point, Kansas City is gonna like fall a little bit and they're gonna struggle, and it's gonna kind of be like, okay, ever since Patrick Mahomes got here, even before Patrick Mahomes got here, we've been making these long AFC championships, Super Bowls, divisional games. Like, it's gonna take a toll on some of their bodies coming up soon. And I mean, these guys need to be ready because I think, like I said, I think in this division, talent wise, the Chargers have the most talented team in the AFC West. But it's, can you put all the crap that happened last year behind you? Can you come into this season and can he coach up to par and make sure that you're not making the same mistakes that you made the first 2 years? 2, can they stay healthy? And 3, can you stop the run? I think those 3 things are going to be critical. We all know Justin Herbert is going to be in contention for I think he's going to be in contention for the MVP. I think this team is going to be really good, but it's just going to be, if those 3 components come together for them, then they should be good, or they should be Gucci, as the kids like to say nowadays. Moving forward this season,
they're going to have a lot of Riz. Yeah.
Yeah. Dun dun.
Yeah, there you go. What? One last question before you go.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert signs huge extension, $52.5 million per year, $262.5, I believe, altogether. Did you offer up your Venmo?
Yeah, right. No, you know what's funny?
$10 free lunch.
Obviously, they jumped water on him the other day, or Gatorade on him, and some kids asked him like, "Oh, can I have your cleats?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, sure." And he gives him the cleats. And I asked him, I'm like, "Oh wow." He's like, "Well, I'm not going to use them anymore." And I'm like, I was thinking, why isn't he going to use them? But I'm like, because of it had Gatorade in them. I'm like, so yeah, because then for the next 2 or 3, the last 2 practices, I could hear guys go, "Can I have your cleats?" And he's like, "No, sorry, no." So like, and it's just funny, like people try and like say all kinds of, like one kid told him, "Hey, today's my birthday." He's like, "Really? Today's your birthday?" He's like, "Yeah." "What's today's date?"
Yeah, like, I saw that.
Come on, like,
that
be better if you're gonna ask for it. But it's funny. The day that I was right next to him, the fence was starting to fall over because people were pushing and shoving and trying to get autographs. And like people from the back, some guy was like, "Oh, can you sign my baby?" Somebody's like, "Will you date my daughter?" I'm like, "Oh my God." I'm like, this is crazy. The only other time I've seen that fence almost fall over was a couple of years ago when Drew Brees came to camp, and Brees went over and he signed autographs for about an hour, and that fence was starting to fall over. And one guy actually, I know a lot of things are being made about autographs right now. One guy kept on getting Drew Brees to sign different things for him, and a security guard for the Saints comes up. He's like, "Drew, he's just gonna sell them online." And he goes, "Have I already signed this guy?" He's like, "Dude, you've signed like 6 jerseys of his." Oh, and he like moves on, and because the guy kept like, he had a guy behind him, and he would just go like he would exchange and go, and and you're just like, dude, come on. Like, he's like, I'm going to keep at least one of them. And I'm like,
Come on.
you're the worst. But yeah, no, it's like the heat and then the gate getting moved. I mean, that's crazy. But yeah, I wish I wish some of that money was coming my way, but unfortunately it's not. But wow, he honestly, and it's well deserved, and everybody's excited for him. Keenan even said he's like, I can't wait till he invites us to dinner. So, and Justin even said, I think I owe quite a few dinners on this team. So it's going to be interesting to see where Justin ends up taking his teammates. But definitely everybody said it, the same thing, well deserved. They're excited for him. The one funniest part I thought was they asked Austin Eckler to do a video, Charger social media, and I was kind of like, oh, I'm like, okay. I'm like, read the room, but yeah,
funny.
no, Justin definitely deserves it. He's the face of this franchise. There's a reason why the other day when I was there, the line was down. There's like an elementary school. It was past the elementary school. Like there was a very long line to get in. Why? Because everybody's there to see Justin Herbert. Everybody wants to see what he's gonna do, and that's why last year they were able to do some good things. They were able to fill up that stadium more than people expected. It's because everybody's there to see number 10, and everybody like this new generation of kids, they're all seeing what he can do, and they're like, oh my God, I love Justin Herbert. I want to be like some dad. I saw him, he had a Saints hat on and a Saints jacket, and I'm like, oh, you're here at the camp? He's like, my kid's a huge Justin Herbert fan. I'm like, oh, really? He's like, yeah, he won't shut up about him. He's like, I'm a Saints fan. I try to get him to be a Saints fan. He saw Justin Herbert play, and he's like, I love Justin Herbert. We live here, so I brought him to come and see Justin Herbert. I'm like, oh, wow, that's awesome. So, yeah, little by little, they're starting to make an impact. Don't believe I tell people, don't believe the narrative of, oh, they don't have fans or anything like that, because I've seen the Las Vegas stadium a couple of times without fans. I've seen SoFi when the other team is there, when the Rams are in there. I've seen a sea of red before with 49ers fans and other stuff like that. So yeah, it's not just the Chargers play the Cowboys on Monday Night Football. I bet you the ESPN's going to try and show, oh, look, like there's so many Cowboy. Well, yeah, Cowboy fans fill up whatever stadium you go to. They're going to fill them up. There's a lot of hopeless romantic Cowboy fans out there. So definitely something interesting. But yeah, Justin definitely deserves that contract.
Fernando, as always, man, thank you so much for your time. I know we're going to have you on as we get closer to the season, but we can't thank you enough for giving us your time today.
Anytime, guys. I appreciate you guys, and have a good rest of your week. And thank you guys again for having me on.
Absolutely. That's Fernando Ramirez right there, of course, with the Sporting Tribune, man. Always great to hear from him. Of course, he covers the Chargers on a daily basis, so it's always nice to hear what his perspective is. Man, and here's the deal. There is a narrative. He's absolutely right. Where if you go further south and you go to San Diego and they want to believe that nobody loves the Chargers. Look, man, there is a Charger fan base, and there's a Charger fan base that is growing dramatically, and you sit there and you go, well, how big is it? If you watch the games on TV, the cameras kind of help you out a little bit. But I told you guys a year ago after the Rams won the Super Bowl, the Rams are for the older generation of football fans. Remember, the Rams started in LA in 1946. So the oldest Los Angeles professional team when you compare them to the Lakers or the Dodgers. But the young people are Charger fans, and they're jumping on this. And the fact that you do have a guy like Justin Herbert and one of the most talented rosters in the league, things are shaping up really well for the Chargers. The only thing that's missing is the Chargers, just like you said, they got to win a playoff game. You got to keep the momentum going because age is catching up. And I don't know how much time Khalil Mack or Keenan Allen they have left.
Yeah, you're right. Age is absolutely catching up. Like we celebrated last show because you locked up Justin Herbert. He's young. This is the time if you're in Los Angeles to become a Charger fan. Matt Stafford's on the way out. Cooper Kupp's the only player that's on the Rams that is relatively young, even though he's not really that young. And then Aaron Donald could retire after this season. So if you're the Chargers, you got
Sean McVay.
And McVay, exactly. So this is a great time for the Chargers to make some noise in Los Angeles and get some fans. So the 9.5, we keep going back to the 9.5 win total. I think that's an absolute joke with how talented the Chargers are. Fernando said it. The best team in the AFC talent-wise is the Chargers. Are they the best team? No, it's probably the Chiefs, but we need to win double-digit games for sure this season.
The thing that stuck out to me is the attitude thing when they're like, yeah, we want Herbert to be a little bit more cocky on the field. Like throw a little touchdown passes, chirp him a little bit. Like everyone likes a, how do you put this? They like a head on the shoulders. They get a little cocky in it. If you get a little good snippets on NFL network of you throwing a touchdown pass. We all obviously remember. I think it was against the Jaguars. Phillip Rivers gets hit, throws the touchdown, and he's screaming in the guy's ear. And the guy goes, "What? Come on, come on!" And he goes, "What did I do?" And he starts like acting like he didn't do anything. He wasn't just talking trash and screaming in the guy's ear. I'm looking forward to that, man. I think if Herbert does have a little bit more of an edge, that can go a long way for this team. That can go a long way in terms of growing his popularity as well. So, but yeah, it's the time is now for the Bolts.
I'll say my complaint with Herbert was not the fact that, look, the trash talking. Either you do it or you don't do it. You can't be something you aren't. But when the ship is sinking. And there's so many times last year where us as fans, and Herbert knew it too, Lombardi was running the team right into the ground. And you wanted to see a little bit of fire. Usually I'm not a fan of, especially wide receivers, when they go and they get in OC's face or the quarterback's face, because we all know the wide receivers are just get me the ball. I need to be recognized. Herbert and the rest of the quarterbacks in the NFL are trying to win games. They aren't thinking of stats. And I wanted to see Herbert show a little bit of emotion, to get frustrated, going, look, what we're doing is not working. But he didn't. He was a guy that would take his helmet off and go sit down or stand on the sideline by himself. It bothered me when, hey, a little bit more. Look, you're now making all the money. You've been in the league now. You're a vet. It's time to sit there and show some emotion. When the ship is sinking, let's try and turn this thing around. You have a uniform on. Let's hear a little bit more from you.
Yeah, that's my favorite part about the quarterback show is Patrick Mahomes. You get to see more of like who he is on the field and off the field. Him trash talking Max Crosby to me was so shocking because you don't see that on TV at all. And then you watch the show and he's chirping Max Crosby. I would love to see that from Justin Herbert. I don't want him to be that annoying quarterback where you just like shut up because he's never going to be.
You don't
that
want
guy.
Baker Mayfield. You don't want Baker.
You don't want Baker Mayfield. Exactly. That's
Oh,
a great way to
come
put
on.
it. It's never going to be that, obviously, but.
Yeah.
You'd love to see some emotion, right? And there might be emotion. We just don't see it like the quarterback show. But if I could see Justin Herbert on this quarterback show, who seems like they can't get somebody on for next season, which is kind of wild to me because I think they put these guys in pretty good light. I think 7 quarterbacks, they said, have turned it down. Jalen Hurts twice. Mario's boy, Justin Fields, turned it down. Lamar Jackson. I'd love to see Justin Herbert on it. He's the perfect candidate for that show.
I kind of get them turning it down. Like it's they do get really, really personal. I could see like that being like, like I'm all set. And Herbert, I mean, we saw in the Hard Knocks, like he didn't really give him a lot. Obviously wasn't really like the biggest storylines during COVID. So it was kind of hard to get a storyline out of really anyone, but I could see him being a little private with it. I think he's a very low key, funny guy. I think like that was a big thing I keep on seeing is that he's a very funny, very entertaining guy. Just depends when he wants to. But speaking of trash talking, gentlemen, and that's what we call a transition in the business, in case you didn't know. There's some trash talking we saw this past week. Sean Payton just comes out, and Dave, you were pumped up about this, which love to hear it. And he decides to lay it on the good old Nathaniel Hackett, calling it one of the worst coaching jobs in the history of the NFL, of Hackett at Denver. He said, another quote, 20 dirty hands around Russell Wilson. And everything I heard about last season, we're doing the opposite. So if you're Nathaniel Hackett and you're chilling in your office and you're watching film with Aaron Rodgers and your phone starts blowing up, it's because Sean Payton's just throwing the utmost strays at you across the freaking country. So Dave, what are your thoughts on this? On Payton just saying, hey, you're already in a grave, but let me dig you 6 feet deeper.
I'm extremely disappointed. I'll be honest with you. I'm not on the side of, hey, that's great. And if I was a Broncos fan, I'd be thinking, hey, man, what are you doing? It just, you know what? Because he broke the code. There's a coaching code. There's so many different coaching codes where you hear, hey, management's coming down and saying, look, we want you to fire so-and-so. We want you to fire this guy, that guy. And head coaches will go, you fire him, you fire me. That's just on their own staff. But there's a coaching fraternity. And it's always been that way in the NFL. And for Sean Payton, who now has the job, look, Nathaniel Hackett doesn't have an office in the building anymore. He's across the country, like you just said, Mario. As a matter of fact, they face each other in the first week of October, I think. And you go in, stop. The problem is, and everybody knows the problem is Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson's the one that didn't look the same. I don't know how good of a coach Hackett is. I wouldn't hire him. I'll tell you right now, just because Russell Wilson literally ruined his resume. But when you break the code and you sit there and you take those shots, it was insane. And then when you say there are 20 dirty hands on Russell Wilson, that means you took all the blame off of Russell Wilson. You put it on the entire coaching staff. Really disappointed by the way he handled it. I lost a lot of respect for Sean Payton. As a matter of fact, I literally went on this show, almost every show, saying I really want to see the Chargers hire Sean Payton. I will be rooting against this guy for the rest of his life, just over the comments he made. And his weak ass apology, man, doesn't do anything for me. It was honest to God, he was so out of line and out of control. Not a fan at all the way he handled it.
How weird was that, Sean Payton saying that? Like, that's just so out of character. Like, dude, you're not on TV anymore. You don't have to say things like this. It reminded me of like Ted Lasso, where Roy Kent does TV and he starts talking crap. It just makes no sense that he's going to start talking crap about Nathaniel Hackett. Like Mario said, he's already in the grave, dude. Kick him while he's down. I love what Aaron Rodgers said today. And I would never say I'd take Aaron Rodgers' side in something over Sean Payton, but it was great. He said, I love Nathaniel Hackett. He's my favorite coach I've ever had in the NFL. Keep my coach's name out of your mouth. It was great. I felt like we're watching the WWE. Very uncharacteristic of Sean Payton. Russell Wilson, to me, has the biggest target on his back, more than Sean Payton. So how are you going to take the blame off of the guy that actually plays on the field and put it back on a guy that already got fired? So that just doesn't make any sense.
For me, it kind of felt like you're setting the bar even lower than it is coming into the year, right? Like, you say these comments because, one, you want him out there, and two, to show, look at how hard of a job I have. Look how hard it is going to be turning this around, turning this culture around, because of how bad the previous organization did it, how bad the previous leadership was. So it's more of, the way I saw it was like, this is a way for, let's be honest, Payton to stroke his ego more. I mean, they're NFL coaches. They love their egos and they love getting them big. Gets to shrug a little more, going, look, you guys have no idea how hard of a job and how great I am that I'm going to be able to turn this around. And then I think it also, to the flip side, going, yeah, this is such a disaster that, like, if you think I can turn around into a 12-6 year or, a far playoff run, it might not be that. So to me, I read it as, this is a good way for him to take a shot at the old leadership, lower the expectations a little bit, and stroke the ego while he's up there, and to remind everyone of how great he is and how much of a blessing it is that he's in Denver. And yeah, like you mentioned it, Dave, I really wanted him to be in LA. I thought he'd be perfect for the Chargers. And imagine if he did this with like Staley and was like, you'll never catch me picking up Bosa's helmet after he throws it on the ground. Just like something along like that would be funny. Like, it is a fun
that's fine.
comment,
That's fine.
Yeah, but what are you gonna do?
But that's not X's and O's. You know what I mean? There's not one person that thought Hackett did a great job. It's funny, Mark. I kind of looked at it different, where him putting down Hackett made it sound like this was an easy job and he had all the ingredients and he blew it. And so I mean, I don't know any other way to take it, where he's basically saying we're going to do the opposite and we're going to have success. Well, to me, you're guaranteeing yourself a winning season and a playoff season, if not a Super Bowl. I mean, you're sitting there saying one guy blew it, made every bad decision, and everything was there to make this work. It's not that hard. We'll see. I mean, to me, the target's definitely on his back. I hope they crash and burn. I hope Hackett says something. Here's honestly, you guys tell me if I'm wrong, but I thought when people ask the question to Payton, all he has to say is, I wasn't here last year. We're moving forward. Today's a new day. Which days one starts when I walked in the building with Russell Wilson and built a relationship, and we're going to try and get this thing on track. That's all you got to say. You don't have to kick the guy. As you said, he's already in the grave. He's gone. There's not one person that said that Broncos made a mistake firing him. Why?
Doug Peterson didn't even talk that bad about Urban Meyer, and Urban Meyer deserved to get trash talked because he was like banging chicks at bars between games, and the whole thing was weird. But man, I was like against all coaching morality to go against another coach. It was really strange. Also strange is Jim Irsay's comments whenever he opens his mouth. Yeah, absolutely wild. Him talking about how the NFL rolls on if him and Jonathan Taylor die tomorrow or today or whatever he said. What's your opinion, Mario, on this whole Jonathan Taylor situation?
Anytime something's taken to social media, like taken in Twitter and Instagram, it's usually can't get any worse. It literally reminds me of like that one relationship you always saw in high school where like the girl cheated or the guy cheated like for the 20th time, and they go, I'm gonna go subtweet him for about an hour, and everyone knows what's going on, and it's just like a good comedy like drama that's just happened before your eyes on social media, and it's good reality TV that you get for real. That's what it literally reminds me of. Like, it was a bunch of grown men who are very, very rich, who have a lot of money, who are taking towards Twitter on a very random night at 7:16, just July 6th, just to go NFL running back situation. We have negotiated a CBA that took years of effort and hard work and compromise and good faith by both sides to say now that a specific player category wants another negotiation after the fact is inappropriate. This is my favorite line of all time. Ursay, you killed it with this one, buddy. Some agents are just selling bad faith. I love that so much because the amount of agents that got so pissed off from that, I do think that can come back and bite the Colts in the ass a little bit because when you go to the table to deal with a lot of these agents, they're gonna remember that a little bit, and they're gonna make things a little bit more difficult for you. I'm gonna sound like so old right here. It's inappropriate. It shouldn't happen. Like, it just shouldn't happen. Look, you're grown ass men. You're coming in trying to find a deal. You should never, ever take to social media. I think if you're a professional athlete and the owner or GM, you never take to social media. You have it stay off social media. You keep it face to face. You keep everything in house. As soon as you take it to social media, it gets uglier and uglier and uglier. And then guess what? The relationship usually doesn't get resolved. And for all the people in Indianapolis that are like, yeah, let Taylor walk. I got news for you, numbnuts. You have no one else. I just want to let that every Colts fan know that because that's been pissing me off all day. You can't let him walk because you have no one else. There's no one. Not Michael Pittman's not going to save you. He blows. Alec Pierce is not going to save you. He blows more. And AR can't throw the freaking football. You have no one else. Your option's to pay him. Your option's to resolve this situation. You have no other option. Your option is to suck or suck less. Your choice. If you want to suck more, let him walk. You want to suck less, figure it out. Either way, you suck. Just remember that. That's all I got to say. That's sending me all morning.
Okay, so the relationship's over, right? No matter what happens, he's always going to remember this. I would too. If I was a kid and somebody insulted me like that, I would too. That being said, Ursay wasn't wrong. He just shouldn't have said it. When he's saying if I die today or something happens to Taylor, the NFL moves on. It does, man. It's Leonardo DiCaprio. The show goes on. It does. Those guys don't maintain the NFL. The NFL's not locking up, and all the stadiums are going to be abandoned because Ursay passed away or Jonathan Taylor's with another team, whatever, or retires. So that being said, the relationship's ruined. Okay, I'm going to throw two options at you. You guys tell me what you think, and if I'm crazy on this. One, you sit there and you try and trade Jonathan Taylor right now. Okay. And you trade him for draft picks, whatever. And then boom, you go ahead and you sign Dalvin Cook. Okay. Two, you call the Chargers and you go, we got a disgruntled guy over here like crazy. We'll trade you Taylor for Austin Eckler. Plus we want a number 2. We want a second round pick. If you're the Chargers, are you pulling that move?
What do you think, Mario?
Hell no, and absolutely no.
From which side? From the Colts or from the Chargers side?
Everyone, all sides. I think no.
Everybody says no. I'm out.
Everybody. I just don't see it happening. Like, I just don't see it happening. I don't see it being wanted by either side. I don't see it working for either side. Like, we've seen this. Is this our third go around with these running backs? I'm requesting a trade. Cool. Awesome. I want to trade too. Man, I want to be traded to. I'm in Indianapolis. I want to be traded to Chicago. It's not going to happen. You know, like we're on the third time. Barkley wanted traded. Yeah, it didn't happen. Eckler wanted traded. Sorry, sweetheart. It ain't going to happen. Josh Jacobs, didn't he request a trade? Guess what? Sorry, buddy. It ain't going to happen. JT, I just don't. I won't say yes to any trader or think anything up, like try to pick a situation because I just don't think it'll happen. I don't think it's worth a trade by anyone. Like, if I'm a GM and you offer that, I go, thanks. I'll say yes to that in 2006. Now I'm probably just going to tell you to go screw yourself and enjoy your lunch.
So he's asking for $16 million. It just seems like a lot, right? For the running back position. Austin Eckler's making 10, and Austin Eckler's way more productive. Let's be honest. Jonathan Taylor had the worst season in his career last year.
But is it the system? Is it the system for Jonathan Taylor?
I mean, a big part of it is, but the Colts are also supposed to have a great offensive line. They weren't great, obviously, but Jonathan Taylor wasn't either. I think it's a combination of both. Austin Eckler to me is way more productive. So why does he get to make $6 more million because he's younger? I just wouldn't pay him
exactly
$16
why.
million a year.
That's exactly why.
But he just came off a bad season. So why are you requesting all the money after you come off a bad season? Am I crazy? Austin Eckler, if anything, should be getting that money. He's at 40 touchdowns.
So can you keep Jonathan Taylor there, even though the relationship's fractured? Can you keep him there?
Mario lives in the city.
I think you can keep him there because money talks. I mean, we didn't think Barkley was on a podcast screaming about that. I won't play week 1. Money talks. Add in a $1 million bonus. I mean, that's what it takes, right? Like Eckler, was it 1 or 2 more million? Barkley,
I think
$1
$1.5
or 2
million,
more
and then he's still complaining.
Yeah.
That's what bothered me about the Eckler deal. He was already under contract. You didn't have to. You gave him hush money, and he didn't hush. He still did his move. I mean, that was the worst $1.5 million ever spent.
Yeah. But
I don't know.
I think you can do that and then make the parties happy and go, we'll give it 1 more year and then you can go you can do whatever the hell you want. And then I think that's what's going to happen.
Right now, to me, Jonathan Taylor turns into a cancer in that locker room. And I'd just say, hey, it's time. Let's end the relationship. Let's see what I can get for him. You're never going to get more for him than right now. Yeah. I would just say go ahead and because a year ago at this time, without a doubt, we all thought he was the best running back in the NFL. And then all of a sudden you sign Matt Ryan and there's no threat of the passing game and the offensive line stunk, like Josh said, that there was nothing for him to do to showcase his talents. He needed the help of his teammates and he definitely didn't get it. Plus they changed coaches. They had 2 different head coaches. It was a complete mess, man, in Indianapolis. I mean, literally, the whole suck for luck deal, they should suck to try and get Caleb Williams.
AR. They have AR.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean,
you're going to get up on Anthony Richardson before he throws another complete pass?
Come on, dude. He sucks, dude. They made a huge mistake. We all know it. He sucks, dude. He sucks. He's worse than Midleek Willis. He sucks.
I don't think he sucks. I think he's going to have a well, you think this guy sucks too, so it doesn't matter. I think he's going to have a field year where he's going to run for over 1,000 yards. Yeah.
That's fine.
And then you hope
tell
you
the
get
cheerleaders keep your eyes up. There's a good chance one of you is getting taken out by an Anthony Richardson pass this year. Dude, I watched him against Florida, man. I'm telling you, it's not just the hate game. Dude, he's not an NFL quarterback right now. I don't know if he's ever an NFL quarterback. He hasn't shown me anything against a quality team. Am I wrong, Josh?
No, you're right. Here's another PSA. Stop telling me how great CJ Stroud and Anthony Richardson are with shorts on in practice. I don't care. I know that you have to talk about it. I'm so tired of hearing about CJ Stroud's unstoppable in Houston. He looks way better than Davis Mills. It's like, dude, they haven't done anything yet. Like, obviously, CJ Stroud's better than Davis Mills, but for God's sakes, they haven't done any real games. Anthony Richardson, to me, he's the shorts king, right? At the combine, the best at everything. He gained 10 more pounds. That's the big story today. He's now 255. It's like, is that a good thing?
Yeah,
like 255. Dude, that's pretty huge, man, for a quarterback. Yeah. Like, is he gonna be a big old fat guy when he's older? Like, he's gonna look like Raymond Felton in a few years? I don't think anybody should be like patting him on the back that he's 255. Like, he's way too young to be that big, in my opinion.
Dude, that's the same with. I saw this clip on Twitter. It was a rookie running back. I can't remember who it is, and they're like off to a fire start at training camp. I counted 5 tackles on each play when he would have been tackled, and they're in shorts. I'm like, dude, hey, exactly. when the guy runs by him and you're wondering why he ran by him, it's not because he juked him out. It's because he can't tackle him. And it's just to prove that, hey, I'll be there. So when they put pads on and Buddy's 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage and not in the touchdown, that's your answer why, numbnuts. That stuff sends me every time. I hate that.
Dude, I fell for this 25 years ago, by the way, with the Chargers. Mario's way too young. Josh is too young too. But any Charger fan will remember Trevor Gaylor. When he came out right around this time, and when he's in shorts, and they gave him number 19, which is a retired number with the Chargers, Lance Allworth's number, and he's running around, and I'm sitting there on the radio telling you it's Randy Moss. He's the next Randy Moss. Trevor Gaylor, I don't think even did anything. I don't know if he ever caught a pass in the NFL. And he's sitting there going, he's the guy? Dude, you can't tell in shorts. Everyone in high school knows. You know that. High school coaches know that. Until the pads come out and it's game speed, you don't know what you have.
Let me ask you a classic question, because we're all on Twitter frequently. Who's like the one guy on Twitter you cannot it keeps popping up on your timeline? You're like, I'm tired of hearing about this guy. I got 3. Okay, I cannot stand any more of these 3 guys. Like, I'm so tired of it. Garrett Wilson, and they're good players. Okay, they're great. All 3 of them are great. Garrett Wilson is on my timeline like crazy. Okay, he's played 1 year. Sauce Gardner, great player, 1 year. I keep seeing him every single day. And then Micah Parsons. And it's always a Micah Parsons comment. It's like, does Micah Parsons just stand by the media the whole time and talk to them? Or does he actually practice? Because you hear about Micah Parsons' comments every single day of the week. Who for you guys do you guys just like can't stand on Twitter?
Tua.
That's fair.
It's hard to Tua. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, congrats. You got a tattoo. And he threw a deep ball at Tyreek Hill in one-on-ones. I hope he
He
can.
is on Twitter a lot.
Yeah. I hope, by the way, as an NFL QB, you can hit your star receiver in one-on-ones on a deep ball. I hope you can. Because if you can't, you got a lot of problems, buddy. My
It's
Lord.
for me, it's Jordan Love, and it's not even Jordan Love the one that sang it. It's everyone else's line. They're just straight out lying. Jordan Love
Yeah.
stinks. He's terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, he's quarterback 32. He's the 32nd best quarterback in the league. He's terrible.
Dude, it's funny you say that. Did you hear Trey Lance is the number 3 in San Francisco?
Right now, he is.
Really?
How is that possible?
Darnold's
How is he
up
the
there?
number 3?
Darnold's
Sam
number 2?
Darnold's ahead of him. Yeah, number 2, and then they say Brock Purdy when he's healthy is the starter. But Trey
Brock
Lance,
Purdy
they
was
say looks-
cleared. How
He's
about that?
good.
Brock Purdy's going to be ready to go.
Yeah, I think he's the best quarterback. But Trey Lance, they said the other day, had 4 pass attempts, 2 were picks, and 1 was an incompletion. So one for 4, basically.
Technically, only one incompletion. They're both picked. Someone got it. Someone caught it.
Caught the ball.
Yeah.
He wearing a 49er uniform, just a different color jersey.
It's
Yeah.
hard sometimes. Same helmet.
Yeah.
Speaking of injuries, gentlemen, we already have a week 1 injury. Jalen Ramsey will be out as of right now for week 1 against the Chargers. That's what
Huge.
probably their number 1 corner, maybe. I know they have Xavier Johnson on the other side, so whatever. If you want to battle on who's one,
Xavier Howard. It's okay.
Xavier Howard. My bad. Wow, that was a big brain fart. Wow,
It's
that was
okay.
bad.
worry.
But how's this kind of change how you guys feel about week 1? Like, how does it kind of change with Ramsey being out? I mean, that was a big addition for him with the Vic Fangio defense. That's pretty strong.
It's big, man. I mean, you got him because he's a shutdown corner. It was a major move that you bring in Jalen Ramsey. People are excited, right? Jalen Ramsey, who played at Florida State, right? And he's going back to the state where he played college football. The game's going to be in Los Angeles, so he has a chance to go back and play at SoFi Stadium. It's a huge advantage, I think, to lose him week 1 for the Chargers.
It's so big that you can't even put it into words. But if you were to put it into words, you change the game plan because he's not playing. Like that's how big it is.
Yeah.
I mean, Kellen Moore is already going to show you that he's in charge of this team. We're going to go vertical. I'm so happy to hear Fernando say that in practice, everybody's going vertical. This is huge. I mean, we should have probably talked about this earlier in the show, but Jalen Ramsey not playing against the Chargers is a massive win for the Chargers week 1.
I completely agree. I think it's massive win for him. I mean, I hope Ramsey gets better and everything like that. But in terms of just them coming in there, I mean, we've seen it every single year, right? In the NFL, where like week 1, the defense is always farther ahead than the offense, right? Like they're always kind of like a step ahead. And betting, it's like always a big under, event because defenses are a little bit. I know Vic Fangio is a genius, but you can't tell me without his star best corner that arguably is the top 3 corner in the league not being there against a really good offensive coordinator. On top of that, a hell of a good quarterback that's going to be able to chuck the ball downfield. Oh, and by the way, that's their goal. I mean, this is huge for the Chargers. Absolutely huge. I heard this and literally right away, I made a note on my phone, an alarm, and all it said was, bet Herbert, bet Herbert. I am going to throw everything I want on over Herbert passing yards because I think it's just going to be rain day all over that Dolphins defense. I think Chargers will be able to put up a lot of points on them. I think with what they'll be able to do with mixed guys on the inside and outside, I think it's going to make that day that much longer for them. I'm super, super pumped for the Chargers. I think it's also going to be a good time for Kellen Moore to be able to really try some stuff out in that week 1 matchup. And hopefully the Bolts can bring it through because if we lose and they don't have Jalen Ramsey, that's also pretty embarrassing.
Yep. All right, Mark, before we get out of here, is this weird? You got one?
Dude, I literally had one. So maybe this is is this weird? I had it. I wrote it down and then I lost it.
All right, I'll throw one. I'll throw one at you.
Yeah,
I'll throw one at you. Okay.
Shoot from the hip.
Okay, straight out. Is it weird that I won't wear shoes in my own house and I won't go barefoot in my own house? Like I will not step on carpet where there's carpet in my house with shoes on, and I won't walk around barefoot on carpet that I own in my own house. That I have to have socks on if I go on carpet, just because you don't know how dirty the bottom of your feet are and the oils in your skin. That I just don't want to. I don't want to put it on my own floor. Is that weird?
I get the shoes. I'm with you on the shoes. I was following you there, but then you lost me about the socks.
On the I don't like to go barefoot on my own floor.
But dude, when you're like truly relaxing and you're just yizing a little bit and you get the feet and then you kind of go to sit back and your feet like indulge in it and you're going, hey, I'm sitting pretty comfortable right now. Like that doesn't do something for you?
Oh no, I understand it feels good. I just don't want the dirt. I don't know. There's so many oils in your hands and your feet that I just don't want it on the carpet. That's just my thing. Josh, is it crazy?
Well, you know I do the same thing you do, so that's why. So I wasn't going to
Yeah,
comment.
You do really?
Yeah. We wear.
Josh has
me
his
and
own
him wear
house,
the
so,
same thing.
yeah.
Well, I do it here too, but me and him we wear slides. You know, we both wear slides all the time in the house, and then that's it. The only time I'm ever barefoot is when I'm in the shower, when I'm in my room, and then outside my room, I got socks and slides on the whole time.
But we don't
Really?
wear slides on the carpet, only on the hard
Oh
part.
yeah,
of the
never.
floor.
No, I would never do that. Yeah, ever. Kyle Pitts talking about Matt Collins. Is that what you brought this up, Dave? Because of what?
No,
Kyle
he
Pitts
just said shoot one from the hip. That's what. No, he just
Okay.
said he didn't have
Well,
one, so I just threw one out there.
Matt Collins said, the wide receiver for the Falcons, that if you're a real man, you eat with your hands. You don't need utensils. And they asked Kyle Pitts.
Man.
You agree with that?
I do.
He's a
They asked
caveman.
Kyle Pitts. Yeah, you're a caveman. They asked Kyle Pitts what he thought. He goes, if you eat spaghetti with your bare hands, you're a weirdo. And I
Or
couldn't
salad.
agree more. Yeah,
Salad.
salad. That's a good one.
Okay.
Mashed potatoes.
Yeah, that
Macaroni
stuff's
and
gross.
cheese.
Okay, yeah, not that stuff, but like there's certain things, dude, I like to just eat with my hands instead, and it
Ice cream
sucks when I
cone.
have to use a fork.
Yeah, what's something?
Yeah,
Oh
let's hear it.
man,
Hot dog and pizza is about it.
hot dog, pizza. There's
Sandwich.
low key sometimes like penne noodles. I hate using a fork. I'm like, dude, I wish I could just use my hands and like go snack and grab.
Dude,
Bro.
hold on. Dude,
Sometimes I
you're
really
Italian,
like to
man.
do that.
Your dad
I
and your
know.
mother must have lost their mind watching you eat with their hands.
Dude, I was a disgusting eater when I was a little kid. And the funny thing is now is that like I hate disgusting eaters now. It's like a huge problem for me. So when I'm around my like nieces and nephews, I like constantly look at my sister, my brother, go, can we clean them up? Clean them up. Clean them up. I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding. Like it's a huge problem for me. I'm like, I'm not kidding. She can't like my niece she goes, I want to sit across from you. And my sister was like, isn't that so cute? Like she wants to like sit across from you. And I go, that's adorable. Mia, end of the table. You are
Nice.
not, no, because you get ketchup everywhere and I need to eat. And if I can't eat because you're messy, I will be very, very frustrated. So I put her at the end. I said, here's your freaking iPad and you shut up. I didn't say that, but like, I can't do that. So, yeah. That's
There
Are
you
you
disgusting.
are you Uncle Mario or Uncle Ben like Spider-Man?
Uncle Ben, like the
I'm Uncle
rice.
Ben like
the rice.
Spider-Man, but I haven't gotten robbed and shot yet.
Are you really
I'll wait on
Uncle
that
Ben?
origin story.
Are you
Yeah,
really
it's
Uncle
my
Ben?
first
Like the
name.
rice?
Yeah, it's my first name. Yeah.
Like the
Well, you act like Ben's like an absurd name.
Dude, it'd be like, and yeah, it'd be like your sister be called Aunt Jemima. Dude, you're an Uncle Ben, like it's a famous rice. What the hell are we talking about here?
Dude, you're acting like that's the most absurd name of all time. It's crazy.
It just seems weird. It just seems weird.
I'll
You got a brother named Jersey Mike? You got a Jersey Mike brother too? All right, I'm giving you a hard time all day.
Yeah,
You're a good sport.
yeah,
You're a good
yeah.
sport.
Yeah. It's good rice too. You're welcome.
No, I didn't say it
It is good
wasn't.
rice.
I'm just
Yeah.
saying, like, literally, your
Oh,
nieces
man.
and nephews are gonna walk around in school saying, "I got an Uncle Ben in my family." Like, you're gonna
Well,
be
they
a
don't-
joke and not know you're a joke.
I don't think they know I'm an uncle yet. I think they just know like Ben. Like they just say Ben. They had a really funny line
Okay.
to me the other day. They're like trying to grasp what I do for a living, where I live, and like my social life. Like they don't understand that because all of my siblings are like married and all had long-term relationships. So they don't understand. So like my nephew was like, "So you don't have anyone?" I was like, "No, man. Like I'm good. I'm good at the moment." And he goes, "So who do you kiss?" I was like, "That's a nice thing, buddy. You don't have to worry. You don't have to just kiss one. You know, kiss as long as you have permission. You can kind of kiss anyone." And then, dude, this was mind blowing to him. And he's like, "Well, who do you-" and he looks at me and he goes, "So who are you gonna marry?" I go, I don't know. I haven't really thought that far. And he goes, well, you should probably figure that out. I go, all right, thank you, man. And then his next question was, he goes, so he's like, wait, I showed him a clip of the show, and he goes, all you're doing is talking. I go, yeah, I talk, and that's
People
how
listen.
Yeah, people listen. You know, it's just kind of how it works. So, like, I'm not going to go into the whole business plan. You're not going to get it. But, yeah, I talk, and it's recorded, and it's posted. It's like Miss Rachel, but, like, you know, not for kids. And he just now he walks around, and he just talks and doesn't shut up. And then if you tell him to, like, hey, quiet down, he goes, relax, I'm making money. Like my uncle. He makes money, I'm making money just by talking. So that's where we're at. The hair kids aren't intelligent, guys.
How old is he? 19? 19?
Yeah, he's 12. No, he's 12. My first niece is something 2 years younger than that. Then the next one's 2 years. Well, there's three after that. Those three are all like the same age, and then there's another one, and then there's one in Elvin. One's about to come out in like a couple months. Yeah.
Oh boy.
So the Heron family keeps growing.
That's
Yeah.
it. That's it.
Yeah.
Power in numbers.
Yeah, power in numbers, but not IQ. Yeah.
That's it. All right. We're going to be back in a couple days. Again, Charger training camp. It's in full swing. To get the pads on, getting a better idea what these guys really look like. Cross your fingers that everybody stays healthy. That's the most important thing right now, this stage of the game. So we'll be back talking Charger football with you. Again, you can watch the show on YouTube. Please leave the comments. Even the bad ones, we read them all. You can take a shot at it, so it's fine. And again, you can listen through the Odyssey app. Again, thanks to Odyssey Sports for carrying the Bolt City podcast right there. So for Mario Heron, Josh Palais, I'm Dave Palais. We'll talk to you next time.
Subscribe.